Bangladesh, sorry guys, Bangladesh has just completed a historic victory in South Africa, first ever victory in South Africa, a 38-run defeat for South Africa. Ultimately, a very poor performance, I must say, from the guys. So we're going to be discussing this on today's on today's review show. It's quite late here. Obviously, trying to get through this. We've obviously watched the entire game. We're going to analyze it. We're going to talk about it in depth. It's your opportunity as well to get involved. So you guys can call in on the show. The link is in the live chat. So you can click on that link and then you can call in and have a conversation with me. Have your say from the fans' point of view. But generally speaking, we're going to give our thoughts. We're going to try and get to as many super chats as possible. Please get your super chats in. It's going to be very difficult tonight to get to all your comments. So please get involved with the super chat to get your questions asked on the show. But yeah, let's get straight into it. Before we get started, though, before we get everything going, you know what you have to do if you're new. That button is red. Please click subscribe, click that notification bell for all future videos as well, please. As well as smash the like button. Please comment and share. And also subscribe to Cricket Fanatics Magazine monthly. Every issue is 100% free, straight to your inbox, every single month. The link is on the screen as well as in the description. You can also become a patron today. So get involved with the Patreon account. And the link is on the screen as well as in the description. It will really help us out, guys. For future references, it will really help us grow as a company over here because we were 100% bootstrapped. So without further ado, let's get straight into today's content. Looking forward to talking to you guys about this, even though it is a defeat, because there's a lot to learn from this particular match. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Cricket Fanatics Magazine. This is your review show. I'm your host, Khalid Maiden, and this is a show where we talk about everything that has to do with that first ODI between South Africa and Bangladesh. Now, Bangladesh have pulled off an historic victory. It's the first victory for Bangladesh on South African soil. It's something that you could see how much it meant to them. So let's dissect it. Let's start first and foremost with the bowling. It wasn't the best of performances with the ball. Although South Africa started well, then gave things a little bit away. Actually, the wicket takers gave things a little away in the middle overs, and then they ended up taking wickets actually to make up for it in the end of the day. And then Bangladesh kept on getting strong in that middle over. Obviously, it was when I looked at Bangladesh batting and that opening partnership forming, at first it was like, okay, South Africa's containing them. They're not really necessarily getting on that average 56 in the first 10, like which is the average at the ground. They were in the 30s, and it was looking okay. So like South Africa was bogging them down. And then they just started letting loose. And Shakib Al Hasan must take an amazing amount of credit for the way he performed. So first and foremost, let's talk about the bowling, Justin, and let's get your thoughts on the bowling. Where do you feel that South Africa let it slip with regards to the bowling? And do you think that South Africa's best bowlers in this particular squad bowled in this particular match?
Firstly, good evening, everyone. Let me start off with saying I felt the first 5 overs, I felt we started very well. We contained the batting quite well. It first felt like we were really, really in this game and we looked like a threat. I remember in the group we were talking about, there was a part where Janssen had Tamim on toast and you had him ducking around all over the place, but you kind of felt that we lost our way along the way. And I just felt tactically we were definitely not in the game. There was a lot of tactics we could have played that maybe could have helped our cause. I felt if you look at Bangladesh bowling attack, for example, versus ours, I felt we only had one spinner that was bowling in the game. I felt we could have added an extra spinner somewhere along the line, even if it was Markram, because I felt you needed more than one spinners, which was not utilized properly. Game plans was not utilized. I mean, for instance, why allow Andile Peklakwa to finish his full 10 when he's gone for about 7 and over, which is not ideal. Normally you need to split this with the sixth bowler to try and keep the game as tight and try not to leak too many runs away, because too many good runs was leaked away in the bowling end of the day.
Yeah, Werner, we're starting with the bowling. Uh, Basically, it pretty much seemed like we let it slip kind of to in the middle overs. The guys that actually let it slip, or the guys that actually took wickets as well, Keshav and Andile, and then Lungi really got punished as well. Um, is this just like it seems to be a trend with the South African bowlers, though, that the first games they tend to be a little bit rusty, and continuing that in this particular game, maybe a slight bit of underestimation happened over here, maybe.
Not sure. Not sure, really. I'm not surprised. As you said, this has happened in almost every new series. When we find ourselves facing a new opponent, it almost always happens. So I'm not surprised. Disappointed, yes. I think it started with the selection. Not selecting Shamsi, playing at what would have been his home ground, in good form as well. I think that's the number one point. Why are you not selecting Shamsi when you know that Bangladeshis will be a lot more uncomfortable facing a left-arm unorthodox spinner than Keshav Maharaj, even though Keshav brings a lot of control and is also a good bowler. But if you're only going to pick one spinner, in my opinion, then it should be Shamsi. But they could have also played two spinners even. But yeah, the bowling is disappointing. I think the main thing is we're still bowling way too many wides, so many extras. We ended up bowling, taking 4 hours to complete our innings. So not only did we lose this match, we might end up losing more points as well, just because we were so slow on our over rate, which is something that's within your control. So that was disappointing as well. Yeah, all the bowlers they started off well, as you said. But at the back end, there doesn't seem to be any real plans to contain. Slow deliveries become very predictable if you bowl 5 in the over, or if you continue going for that wide line, but you keep missing your areas and going for a wide. It just doesn't work. So it's something that they will need to figure out, rectify very quickly, seeing as it's a 3-match series, so they need to win the next two to not only win the series, but to finally get some super points here. But the rate we're going at now, we're going to have to play a qualifying tournament just to try and make it to the World Cup, which for a proud side as a Proteas would be devastating, really, and not a good look. So yeah, a lot to rectify in the bowling, all of them really. I don't think we can really single one bowler out. All of them had some poor deliveries throughout. Some good deliveries as well, good at the beginning, but you can't end like that, can't make it easy. And I think the main problem was we weren't taking enough wickets at the beginning. Bangladesh set themselves up well. They got a 90-yard opening partnership. We were 3 down within the power play. That makes a huge difference.
Yeah, we're going to get to that now. Let's talk about the batting because there's a lot to get into over here. So first and foremost, the whole reason, let's start with the big elephant in the room over here, and that's first and foremost there's kind of two I would like to highlight over here, but let's start with the first one because I think it's the most probably pressing topic at the moment, and that's that top order. Aiden Markram, another performance, poor performance, bad judgment, bad shot, too much power, not the correct shot on this wicket in this particular circumstance. Another duck performing very poorly with regards to ODI cricket. It's weird because this came off for 70. First and foremost, what bothered me was the fact that they let Kyle Verreynne, who's never opened before, open in a match like this. That's important when you're losing someone like Quinton de Kock of his caliber. I feel that someone like either Temba or someone like Aiden should have taken that responsibility early on and said, look here, we've opened before. We need to be the ones that takes the opening partnership over here because we've done it before for the country and we need to put ourselves on the line. It does seem a bit like they protected Markram today, particularly Markram today. and never necessarily worked because he ended up going out for duck anyway, playing another loose delivery. So it was very poor from Markram. Also very poor from Andile, I feel. The way he's been batting hasn't been good. I thought that at least that century recently is going to give him a massive boost and that he's going to be performing. But it's with the bat that I feel that he's going to have to make that difference between him and Dwayne Pretorius, because I feel that Dwayne Pretorius can offer more or even the same as him with the ball, and then with the bat he can offer more. So it is a bit puzzling that Dwayne Pretorius hasn't been favoured in the one day arena, even though he's been favoured in the T20 arena over in that Andile. So that is a bit worrying to me because I feel that the better batter should get the opportunity over here, because I think that Dwayne Pretorius has added a lot of variations. He's who I wanted in the first 11 from the beginning, actually, and that's what I wanted. So yeah, we need to now start picking the best players in positions. I mean, there's a Ryan Rickleton that could have got an opportunity today because a lot of people have been asking for someone like Aiden that has been struggling for form. He's been given a lot of opportunities, and he's been given another one again, and he's come short. So where do you guys stand on Markram? Let's go around. Let's start with Justin and Werner. Where do you start on Markram, and then you can go on to Andile?
I think the problem is I was actually very disappointed in Markram today because, like we discussed in our group, that before his dismissal, Carl Verheyen just got dismissed by playing one too many drives. And Verheyen by nature is a stroke player. He's a stroke player. He likes to rotate the strike. He likes to punish that odd bad ball, and he will punish. Yeah, he's got that. He hits the ball. What Mark Nicholas all says, he hits sneaky hard. Now he failed, but going for drive one too many. And what upset me is Markram comes in, and suddenly he's also looking to drive the ball. And as a cricketer myself, I would have said, first play yourself in, and then try and start driving and playing a shot. I look at, for example, Miller. He was looking for the gap. He played himself in. Eventually, when he got himself in, then he started playing all of his shots. Rassie van der Dussen was the same. So the scenario itself requires someone like a Markram to play himself in, and we needed a Markram to chip in. It was not the situation where Markram had to play a loose shot. I mean, playing on the off stump, like I said in the group, you're still driving the ball. He could have maybe cut the ball. That makes a little bit of a difference.
Further?
I've been quite vocal about it, that I don't think that Markram deserves to be in the ODI or Test team at this stage. He's out of form. He's lacking confidence. His technique is all over the place. So I don't believe he should be in this team right now. I think there's more deserving players in form that can be that should be playing at the moment. And if Markram is playing, then he should only be playing if he's going to bowl you some overs. Today he didn't bowl a single over. And if he is playing, then he shouldn't be coming in before or ahead of Rassie van der Dussen, in my opinion. You can't have a guy averaging 75 in ODI cricket, constantly making runs for us, coming in after Markram, who's constantly been disappointing us in this format. It just doesn't make sense. Rassie can control an innings for you. Markram, when in form, he can come in and he can hit at quite a high tempo. He can hit the big shots. There's no reason, in my opinion, that he should be coming in ahead of Rassie van der Dussen. And even Miller is wasted at 6. I mean, obviously today he was doing well because he came in fairly early, just because we lost a lot of wickets. But number 5 should really be his spot still. That's the way I see it. And he is way too underrated. Miller is a real match winner for us. Obviously today the required rate got out of hand and he got out going for it. But that's fine, and I can live with that. But Tembo Bavuma got out just when he needed to kick on. He was 30 odd of over 50 deliveries. He was going at a strike rate of about 60, which was all right in the circumstances. He was rebuilding with Rassie van der Dussen, who managed to go at a runner ball. But that was the time that he needed to kick on and get his run rate up over 100 to get us back level with the required rates to get us back going again. But then he got out at an inopportune time. But then Miller came in. He looked good. Him and Rassie looked like they might get us back into this game. But obviously then Rassie went out. And then it sort of whimpered out after that. Miller tried to keep us in it, but he couldn't. But those are two standout performances in this game. But yeah, my point with Markram still stands. I think if Quentin de Kock comes back, if he's feeling fit and ready to go again, then Verena needs to shift down to number 5 or 6 after Miller even, and Markram needs to drop out. That's my opinion. Peghlukwayo, yeah, it's a tough one. He hasn't been doing enough to warrant a place ahead of some of the other all-rounders within the squad or even within the system. He needs to be contributing a lot more. Coming in, facing out 9 dot deliveries, and then getting off the mark, and then getting out for 2 or 13 deliveries in a chase where we're already requiring 12 and over at that stage is not good enough from what is your premier all-rounder, seeing as he's coming in at number 7. So we do need a lot more, and number 7 needs to be that guy that can come in and can hit lasty blows and do it consistently. Somebody like Hardik Pandya or a Kyan Pollard, or there's a bunch, Marcus Stoinis, whoever it might be. That's the type of player we need in that position. We can't have a guy who scores once in 10 innings at the strike rate of maybe 100. That's not good enough in that position. So yeah, a lot to rectify. Maybe they can try Pretorius in that position. I don't know. We'll see how they go, but a lot to rectify in the 2 games to come. I won't be overly negative about it because we do start series slowly, and we had the same type of discussion after the first test against India and the first test against New Zealand. It's not the same format, but we start slowly. So I'm not going to sit here and say it's done, Bangladesh are going to steamroll us. I still believe we can probably still come back and win the series 2-1, but it is frustrating that we keep starting so slowly and poorly, and there really is no excuse for it. But congratulations to Bangladesh. I thought they played very well today. They really hit their marks with the ball. They rushed our batsmen as well. It's good to see 2 of their bowlers bowling 140 plus, something you wouldn't have seen a lot of in the past. Obviously, Mr. Fizzer with his great cutters, that one here almost breaks his wrist delivering it. Mehdi Hassan coming back after going for 38 in his first 4 overs, ending up with like 4 for 50 odd. Outstanding work from him as well. And the batters really set it up. Shakib Al Hassan showing all his experience. How glad are they that he decided to come eventually. So yeah, no, I do think a lot of credit needs to be given to Bangladesh, but we also did make it too easy for them.
We need to actually go into that and think about why we start so slowly. It could be a problem leading into tournaments specifically, because that actually happened to us in the T20 World Cup. If we didn't start the way we started against Australia, we'd be in a very different ball game altogether. And that was us losing the game, not Australia beating us. So we do tend to start very slowly in series, in tournaments, etc. And we need to get better at that. Mentally, we need to get better at that. But there needs to be a lot of, like, there are definitely places for improvement and changes that need to happen. I think that players need to get opportunities at the right times. There are certain players that need to get opportunities at the right times. And I think they need to do a lot more thinking when it comes to doing this and playing players that they want to. And unfortunately, what's unfortunately the case, and that it's there that we have to deal with, is that the quota system is still in place as well, and they have to work with these numbers and try to fit in players to fit into these numbers, because they are far behind with regards to that. And now we have to accept that as a fan base. We have to accept that as South Africans, that is the case still with South African cricket, that it is that strict right now, because there hasn't been maybe enough done to produce more players of color in the country, seeing that they are the majority of population in the country. It's bad, and we can talk about that on another show. But I've been speaking about, for example, Andile for quite some time now, saying that unless he comes to the party with a bat, there's no reason why he should be in the team as an all-rounder, because I don't think he offers enough with the ball to keep his place alone as a bowler. I do feel that he needs to contribute with a bat as well. You could see with Marco Jansen, a youngster came into the middle. He just looked a lot more comfortable hitting the ball and playing cricket shots than what Andile did as an all-rounder. And maybe Marco Jansen is that bowling all-rounder we've been looking for in South Africa, maybe for the future. We'll see. Time will tell. I do think that mistakes were made in this match. Like, for example, I don't think that Calvert, even though I believe that Calvert has the ability to do many things, I do think it was a little bit unfair to throw him in the deep end and make him open the batting for South Africa. Even though he looked all right for the first bit of his 20. Jana Malan again going out to a loose shot. Very disappointed with Aiden Markram. I can't be more clear than that I am very disappointed with him, because we know we see a different Aiden in domestic cricket than what we see in international cricket, and we want to see the same Aiden. We've been waiting for a while now to see that in the 50 over. He's struggling with that. Then Rassi was good today. You have to give the props to Rassi again. I mean, he's been excellent in this format. David Miller was good. Okay, yes, apart from maybe where he should have, people are going to say that, I'm going to say it again, but yes, he could have maybe found more balls, but found more strike at the end of the year when the tail ends are coming in. But the game was already gone almost, so I'm not going to hold that against him for this particular match. He came in and he batted really well. Pavuma, Pavuma's playing a lot of this anchoring roles recently in the team. That's been kind of his role in this team. It comes across. I know a lot of people hop on his strike rate and what people are going to hop on his strike rate, but in ODIs, in strike rates with regards to ODI cricket, I went and looked at the top all-round or top batters of all time, and not a lot of people have crossed the 100 mark when it comes to strike rates. I mean, I think AB de Villiers is the only one actually in the top 20 that has passed that 100 strike rate mark in the amount of matches he's played. So in ODI cricket, you're not going to see those 120, 130, 140 strike rates from top order batters like you see it in T20 cricket. It's not going to be the same. So so people want to hop on the strike rate, but I feel that there's yes, he could have batted faster. He didn't play his best game today. I thought that he was on path to perform like he did in the previous ODI that they saved against India, the two of them. I thought that they were on a partnership like that, but he gave his wicket away, an unnecessary shot that he thought he could get away. Poor from him. So poor from my batting side. Once again, that 300 mark is haunting us. It has been haunting us for quite some time. We get games, then we get over it and we say, okay, maybe this is the start and the turning point of where we're going to start scoring a lot of 300 scores going forward. But we couldn't chase it, and we chose to bowl today. That's the funny thing about it. We chose to bowl today, and the game plan didn't work. Unfortunately, we have to admit that Bangladesh was better than us in every single way possible. They were better with us in the field. They were better with us with bowling. They were better with us with batting. Ultimately, Bangladesh were the team that deserved to win, and that's how it is currently. Let's get your final thoughts in, guys. I'm going to get yours, Werner, and then Justin, you can end off.
I think the problem of the batting still comes down to too many dot deliveries or too many dot balls. It really at the international level shouldn't be that hard to be going at about 6 and over constantly, even when you're setting a target or chasing. I mean, if you're chasing 8 and over, if you're at least getting 6 and over for 20 overs, that's fine. You'll still stay within touching distance when you get to the last 10. But when you're going at 4 and over, when you need 8 and over, you're just getting further and further behind. And we played out so many dots. Temba Bavuma played out so many dots today.
Too many times.
Yeah, we saw plenty of overs going by. 2 runs of this over, 3 runs of this over. When we're chasing 315, you can't be having those type of overs. And if you do, then the next over needs to go for 10 runs. So they took it a bit too easy. After 20 overs, we were 79. In chase of 315, you're always putting yourself under pressure. There's only so much that David Miller could do coming in. There's only so much that so many times that Russ van der Dussen will win us games on his own back. So we need some all-round contributions from this team. Obviously, in a chase, you want your top order to fire. You need your top order to fire, and we lost 3 quick wickets. So from there, it was always going to be hard to come back. But we were in that position because we bowled poorly. Usually, it's our bowlers that set us up in matches, and I don't think there was a problem deciding to bowl first. Bowling first at Supersport Park does come off a lot of times because it does tend to get easier under the lights at night to chase. The ball does tend to skid on a bit more. It becomes easier. So I don't think that choosing to bowl first was the problem. It was just we didn't bowl well enough. We didn't pick up enough wickets, and we didn't have our main wicket taker in Tabrei Shamsi, which I still don't understand, as I said here. So yeah, that's my opinion.
That's a bit worrying, yeah. Just before we get to you, we do have a caller. Lorenzo's going to come scowl me here on the show. Welcome to the show, Lorenzo.
Hi, Khalid. You guys good?
Yeah, I'm good at you. I'm right as can be,
Yeah. Nah, guys. To be honest with you guys, I am absolutely fuming. I can't take this anymore. I just can't. I mean, Markram, walking wicket. When he walks in, we know he's not going to score runs. So why are the selectors keep on selecting him? As Werner said, if he's not going to bowl, why is he in the team? We can't go on ability anymore because he's not producing the goods. And for Andile Perlukoyo, I mean, for the past 2 seasons now, the guy can't play the ball off the square. He can't buy a single. He can't even hit the ball. He can't even rotate the strike. And when he bowls, yes, he takes the odd wicket, but he goes for runs. So I just feel the and this is maybe a bit controversial now, but I just feel with the target system, the quota system we have in place currently, I just feel it messes up at international cricket our team structure. Because say for instance, Kagiso Rabada gets injured, there's no player of color on the bench to take his place. Then a white batsman needs to be dropped to meet the target. You understand? I mean, that's not right. Like a guy like Ryan Rickleton, he can't get a game. Hamza was played ahead of him in New Zealand for obvious reasons. We know the reasons. Hamza's a number 3 batsman. Before the tour even started, we said no. Hamza is the second best number 3 batsman in South Africa. But he didn't even bat number 3. He batted 6. So why was he playing? Because for obvious reasons. So I just feel that's an issue CSA really need to address, and I mean quickly too. Because my last point, at the World Cup last year, the T20 World Cup, right?
Mm-hmm.
Pretorius was played. Why was he played? First of all, he should have played because he was a best all-rounder. And he was played because there was no targets at the T20 World Cup. But now in bilateral series, there's targets. So now we can't select him. So now we must select Pegloquayo. Like they did against India. They played both Pegloquayo and Andile Pegloquayo and Pretorius in the same team, and they dropped Jansen. You understand? So it doesn't sit well with me, to be honest with you guys. So yeah, that's all I want to say tonight.
Yeah, I want to hop on that quota system thing, and I think I've had this conversation actually on this channel a while back, because people get two of the two confused. Like transformation and quotas is completely different. Now I'm very pro transformation, and transformation is obviously that's a completely different thing to
exactly
the quota system itself. So now my thing about the quota system, I have said that I think maybe that we are not producing enough players of color because of our transformation hasn't been on par. We're not producing enough players of color at the moment to have such strict quota policies in the international. I thought that we can reduce it, and that's a very controversial thing for me as a person of color to say something like that, because I know why the quota system has been put in place. Because otherwise, players of color wouldn't have gotten opportunities. We would have never seen that happen if it wasn't for the quota system in the first place. So, but we have to obviously look at things logically. We can't force something that's not working. And I agree with you on that.
Exactly.
Like, for example, I do believe that Andile Peklikwayo has been completely off form. And if you're off form, you need to
Yes.
be dropped. The same with Aiden Markram. You know how big of a fan of Aiden Markram I am. And
Yes.
I have to admit when he's not doing well, and when there's someone else that's around that needs to get selected over him. Currently, if you're looking at the domestic system, at the ODI players or the 50 over players that are doing well, Subhay Ramza, even Ryan Rickleton, there's guys all are ahead of Aiden at the moment based on form.
Yes.
If you're looking at form, he goes back
Agree.
to, we agreed we should be dropped, and he gets dropped, and he goes and plays domestic cricket, and he scores a 70 to help them win the game. He comes back into international cricket, and he looks exactly the same again. So this is
Yeah.
my concern is now I want to know what the picking order is, what the strategy is when you're picking players, because I don't see that transparency from regards to South Africa. It's always like it changes on the
Yes.
whim. They decide one thing and they change their minds. First it's experience, then it's no, we're going to give youngsters opportunity, and that's why we're selecting this person. No, then it's on weight on runs domestically, then it's on averages. We don't know what they're doing half the time.
Exactly.
Like, for example, we can see it with Tony Rizorzi being omitted from the test squad, for example. Like, we all thought that the reason he's being picked SAA side is because he's that future replacement for that
Temba.
number 5 spot, or Temba in the future, and yet he hasn't. He hasn't been picked. So it is difficult to look at everything and to talk about it, because there's a lot of things happening behind the scenes we don't know about with players as well. Reasons why they're performing poorly, reasons why they're performing well that we don't know about as well behind the
Yeah.
scenes. So it's difficult for us to talk about it so openly and say it so categorically that this is the answer and that's the answer. It's
Yes.
easy for us to say, but we don't know what's actually going on behind the scenes. I agree with you. Maybe the quote, I am for that idea, and I don't for relaxing the quota targets maybe internationally. I understand domestically why they have to. I even think that domestically they should relax it a little bit. I think it's a little bit maybe too much there, but I'm maybe one of the people on the other side of that of that line that believes that. But I see good in it and I see bad. It's a difficult one because it's not completely bad. I think there's parts there is certain cases where it is very, very bad, and there's certain cases where we're like maybe it should be used or whatever the case may be. It's a difficult situation because there has been so many cases where players have been overlooked, even good players of color that have been overlooked because of various reasons, and that quota system needed to be put in place because of that unconscious bias that was happening within the national setup before, and it's still around. There are still stigmas around players of color when it comes to certain things. It's a well-known feeling that we get when, as you should know as well as a person of color, that's the case too.
Yes.
So is there anything else you want to say, Lorenzo? I mean, I take your points and I agree with a lot that you've said.
Yes. Yes, just one thing there on the Ndile situation. I think CSA should have identified a couple of years back that clearly he's not good enough for me. He's not good enough at the moment for international cricket. So why not go back to domestic cricket? I'm talking about the CSA and the selectors now. Identify a young player of color, all-rounder. Give him the experience. Put all the eggs in that basket. Give him experience. Pick him, select him in the squad. You haven't necessarily have to play. Just pick him in the squad, gain experience, so that you know, okay, when Andile is not performing and you don't want to select Pretorius, then there's a dark and the next POC, maybe it's Jason Smith, maybe that can take his place because he's also a POC.
Yeah.
So I just think they need to develop the players more and identify players to replace Temba Bavuma, Kagiso Rabada, Lungin Giri. For if they're injured, they know, okay, there's a POC to replace him with. That's all they need to do.
Yeah. So if I step back from the situation, I know the emotions are running high at the moment, but if I step back from the situation and I look at it, and I'm like, there were 4 Black African players play today. Temba Bavuma, Lungingiri, Kagiso Rabada, as well as Andile Peklikwayo. So the Black African reason is not the reason why he got selected, first and foremost. Okay. Second of all, we didn't. First, if I'm looking at it, because they could have played Wayne Parnell, person of color.
Yes.
Player of color, all-rounder, they could have possibly played someone like that. So when I'm looking at it, I'm like, it's not necessarily because of the Black African part, because we didn't meet the requirements anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
Even with Keshav Maharaj playing, There's only 5 players of color. We want 6 in
Yep.
the team overall over the season, over the year, whatever the case may be. So I don't. Maybe that's not the reason. I don't understand what the reason is, but there must be a cricketing reason on why they're making that decision with Andile, because it's been consistent for a large period of time. We've seen flashes of
Yes.
Andile where it really comes off. There's no way that he can be that bad and then suddenly good. There's something going on with him
Wrong. Yep.
mentally, or I don't know what it is, because he can look like a very basic batter, like a very poor batter, and then he can look like a really good batter. Like you can go and score a century in 4-day cricket. Like
4-day
that
cricket,
doesn't make it doesn't make logical sense how a batter can do that and then be classified as a bad batter still. I don't know if it's the occasion. I don't know what it is, whether it is how he's feeling in the national setup. I don't know. I'm not trying to make excuses for anybody. I just don't want to.
Yeah.
I have to be kind of unbiased in a way and say, like, when someone is bad, yes, say they're bad, but also look at the reasons and why. We have to look at
Yes.
both, because otherwise we're never going to come to a conclusion. I mean, there are coaches that I've spoken to in the past that always used to talk highly of Andile. They saw something in him, and if they saw something in him, there must be something there that must be unlocked. I don't know, but currently he hasn't been good enough
Yeah.
to be in the team,
Okay.
and I
I,
agree
I
with you.
okay. I have one more last question for you guys. Do you guys think that Maharaj is being selected over Tauré Samsi because he's vice captain? Because I think that is absolutely ridiculous if that's the case. For me, Tauré Samsi is our best limited over spinner. Period. He's a wicket taker. When you need a wicket taker, you bring him on. He will take your wickets. Maharaj is more like of a holding type of bowler that will bring the run rate down. But if he also, yes, he can take wickets, but he goes for a few runs as well. So for me, I personally feel that Tabrez Samsi must play, regardless if Maharaj is the vice captain. That is my feeling.
Agreed. Justin?
So let me first answer Lorenzo's question here first by saying I actually feel it would have been better. I think it would have been a better bet to drop Andile, rather push Maharaj a bit up the order or Janssen up the order and just have a
Yes.
second spinner there. That for me would have made a little bit more sense because the point for me goes like this. In batting, I mean, it's one topic I'm sure we can spend months talking batting on just pure batting. Now, there's 2 types of players that you get. You get those that rotates the strike, and you get those that can really hit the ball miles, right? So for me, I kind of feel everyone's basics were completely, or not everyone, but a lot of the basics was not even there. Where for me, I feel what happened to rotating this odd strike, just rotating the strike. So for instance, Beklequire, there was a stage in the game, you don't have to go and murder the ball. You could have just gone rotate to the strike, feed the strike to Miller, let Miller do the work because you got a set batsman in with you. So just play for the single, knock it down to third man, knock it down to fine leg, hit it to the covers. You don't have to go and smack a 20 ball 50 or something magical like that when you got a power hitter by you. That's even where I'm disappointed with Markram. You could have just knock a ball, get runs, run a ball. That would have been much more acceptable. Even Bavuma, sorry, even Bavuma were 55 dots. I'm sure of the 55 dots, there was deliveries where you could have just knocked it, just look for the single. You don't have to hit boundaries. Cricket's not always about who can hit the most boundaries, who can hit the most sixes. Because we're playing this brand of smart cricket. That's what Boucher said from the very beginning. Is he wants us to play smart cricket. Now, smart cricket is also applicable by just playing for the ones, twos, rotating strike, getting the set batsman in because he's more likely to do the job than a fresh batsman.
And I mean, they must know it, man. They're professional sportsmen, they're cricketers. They must know that fact that you're getting into that page. You need to build your innings. You need to make sure, there's no need for you to actually take the strike. Like, for example, Aiden coming in at that time, you have a batter that's starting to get, momentum and get runs. There's no need for you to make a smash a massive cover drive to get runs. You just need to rotate, make sure that the batter that's in faces majority of the pauses, like David Miller actually did with Rassie van der Dussen. That's exactly how you should set up your innings. Ultimately, he did it perfectly. Actually, David Miller was exactly the example that we needed. Werner, do you want to add to what Lorenzo had to say? And with regards to the Tabrei Shamsi, because to me, the first thing I said is exactly the same thing. When I saw Tabrei Shamsi not playing again, I was like, "What? He's the best spinner."
But that's how I started what
Yeah.
I said first thing when I came on is the first thing we did wrong is not selecting Shamsi, which didn't make sense to me at all. And I really hope the reasoning is not to, if they want to play one of the two, that they pick Maharaj just because he's vice captain, because that's the wrong way of thinking about it. In terms of the batting, I agree with Justin. Markram, right? So I'm saying he shouldn't be in a team and everything. If he just gives himself some time at the crease, he doesn't need to hit it from ball one. He's good enough that if he just gets himself settled, he can be 20 or 30 deliveries and still end up with 70 or 50. He doesn't need to hit everything right from the get-go. He's good enough to catch it up when he's in form, that is. So it counts for a few of our batters. Miller is the one that's probably doing it best with Rassie. Miller is the one that can both hit the big ball, but is also very good at rotating the strike. But a lot of our other batters just tend to get stuck through the middle, and as Justin says as well, it's so important to just be able to rotate the strike. It's a simple thing, really, and at the international level, it really shouldn't be an issue. When they get to that level, that is the basics. Rotate the strike, get 5-6 runs and over, and if you get 5 singles and over and hit the boundary, that's 9 and over, you're cruising. So it's really not rocket science.
Lorenzo, anything else?
No, guys, I'm good. Just
Cool.
thank you for letting me be on the show tonight.
Awesome. Thank you for coming on and calling in. I'm glad that you got to ask your questions. Please come on the show in the future again.
Thank you.
Okay, guys, let's wrap up the show. I think it was an amazing show. Thanks a lot for tuning in, everybody. Smash that like button. I think Werner, Justin, you made excellent points. There's a lot to improve with South Africa. We've expressed our views. Remember that the views are our own. The panelists are our own. It's not the views of Cricket Fanatics Magazine. So please don't ban the actual channel and don't cancel culture us because we are making views that you maybe don't agree with. Remember that Cricket Fanatics Magazine is an independent company. It's your platform too. So thanks a lot, guys, for tuning in, and I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Like I said, don't forget to smash that like button. Don't forget to comment. Don't forget to share. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to click that notification bell for all future videos. Don't forget to download Cricket Fanatics Magazine monthly. Every issue is 100% free, straight to your inbox every single month. Link is on the screen as well as in the description. You can also become a patron today. Link is on the screen as well as in the description to help us grow as a channel and as a family over here. You guys are all a part of it. Don't forget to get involved in super chats for future shows if you want us to read out your questions as well, because your guys have been so amazing in the live chat. It's going to be it's very difficult for me to keep up with everybody because it's me alone producing the show. So I can't obviously click on so many buttons. The graphics and everything that comes on the screen I'm doing by myself here on my little laptop, so it's difficult for me to read through the comments as well on top of it. So please get involved with super chats in future shows because we like to hear what you have to say. Thanks a lot for watching, everybody. We'll see you guys again on Sunday with another podcast show. Take care, everybody, and enjoy your weekend. Peace.